Offer valid on standard browsers, U.S. only.
When I heard about Date My Age, I thought, really? But there I was in my empty, quiet house, my laptop on the kitchen counter, and I typed in my name. Looking for a man between the ages of 40 to 60? Sure, why not?
Date My Age is different. With verified profiles, you can feel safe and secure to explore meaningful connections with interesting and mature singles.
Date My Age made it really easy. I could join and view online profiles for free. All of a sudden, my empty house wasn't so quiet anymore. I got so much attention, it just made me feel seen and alive. Date My Age helped me start a totally new chapter in my life.
Find a friend, a lover, a partner at Date My Age. Get 60% off when you join at datemyage.com today. That's datemyage.com to connect with thousands of singles worldwide. datemyage.com.
Kempire is brought to you by
Washington, D.C., the Kempire After Dark, the Villain Era live tour is coming to your city on August 22nd. But before that, we're coming to Philly on July 10th at City Winery. Then we're going to Atlanta on August 5th. Then we're going to Washington, D.C., and this is going to be an all-new show, all new hot topics, all new reality TV conversation, and all kinds of amazing guests and surprises. Be sure to get your tickets today, and don't forget, we're coming back to New York City on September 12th. Go get your tickets. There's also a live stream option exclusively for the New York City show. More information will be available in the description.
You're listening to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Network.
And this is why it pays to be a podcast listener, because I'm dropping this video first, well, the audio on the Kempire podcast, along with our Real Housewives of Atlanta recap that we did earlier today. I did see in the live chat some people talking about Dwight from the Real Housewives of Atlanta having prostate cancer. Of course, I don't like to run with narratives. I like to do my own research and confirm this news. And he confirmed this news exclusively with our friends over at People Magazine. According to People Magazine, they write this. They said Real Housewives of Atlanta star Dwight Eubanks reveals that he was diagnosed with prostate cancer. The celebrity hairstylist, who's 64 years old. If you've seen Dwight recently, he does not look 64. He opened up to People exclusively about being diagnosed earlier this year and why he's so adamant about encouraging others to stay on top of their health. Nearly 30 years ago, Dwight's grandfather was diagnosed with prostate cancer. He kept his diagnosis a secret from family before later dying from the disease. From that point, Eubanks was very conscious about the possibility of having a similar fate. However, he says that he was told that because the family history of prostate cancer came from his mother's side, that there wasn't a high risk of him getting a diagnosis himself. So I'm thinking that I'm good, he tells People. I was confident that I was Superman, I was cleared, I was going to be okay, and I just never thought about it. In January, Eubanks' church was hosting a health fair, and he decided to get blood work done. This is why I tell you, I have to say, I started being more conscious about my blood pressure and my health because of a health fair that they had at my corporate job years ago. This could actually save lives. This is why these corporate fairs are so important. A week later, his doctor called and told him to come in as soon as possible. Despite feeling healthy and having no alarming symptoms, he was diagnosed with prostate cancer. A follow-up prostate-specific antigen, PSA, blood test in April confirmed the diagnosis. He says, I was shocked. I was angry, he recalls. I was just emotionally a wreck. When you hear the word cancer, you freak out. I'm human. Society has told us that cancer was just devastating and you just have days to live. So, of course, I freaked out, and I think I'm still freaked out. Prostate cancer is the second most common cancer among men in the United States, according to the American Cancer Society. About 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed during their lifetime. However, Black and African American men are at greater risk, with 1 in 6 men who will be diagnosed with prostate cancer. Additionally, Black men are twice as likely to die from prostate cancer than white men. That's important to note. While Eubanks was grappling with his diagnosis, he also learned that his cancer could have been caught earlier. As someone living with HIV since the 80s, the TV personality has had routine checkups with his doctor every 6 months. After being diagnosed with prostate cancer, his doctors reviewed past medical records and noticed that in 2022, He had a high PSA levels that weren't brought up. I was like, are you kidding me? This was back in 2022 and nobody said anything to me. He just said, you're undetectable, so you are fine. Never said anything about my prostate. I guess they just weren't looking at that. And that's the thing, too. We have to also be our own advocates in these offices. I know we rely on our doctors to be diligent. And that's why I pay a little extra for another service. They're a little bit more proactive in regards to your health and the things that you should be screening for at certain ages. But not everyone has that ability to pay for something extra. Healthcare in general is very expensive. He says, I was like, are you kidding me? This was back in 2022 and nobody said anything to me. He just said, you're undetectable, so you're fine. Never said anything about my prostate. I guess they just weren't looking at that. For those that don't understand what undetectable is, we're in Pride Month. Undetectable meaning that he still has HIV. However, he won't transmit HIV to anyone else, because a lot of people get that confused. As frustrated as he was about the ability of getting a diagnosis sooner, Eubanks admits, I just have to laugh instead of crying about this whole journey. Now, to mark the beginning of Men's Health Month, Eubanks is partnering with Zero Prostate Cancer as their brand ambassador to raise awareness and encourage other men, especially Black men, about the importance of getting screened. Additionally, Eubanks will be featured as a speaker at the Zero Prostate Cancer's Virtual Education and Support Summit, June 3rd to the 5th. What's amazing about this is that I feel like a higher power has been preparing me for this moment to be a light of hope for others. Noting that he knew immediately that he was going to be transparent about his diagnosis, unlike his grandfather's approach. I could not be silent with this because it could help people if they just get tested and don't wait too long. And most important, ask questions, look at your records, investigate. I can't say what could have, or would have been, but I just have to embrace where I am now and be grateful and try to help someone else along the way. Moving forward, Eubanks is still working with his doctors on a treatment plan that would best suit him. Witnessing a longtime friend go through a traumatic prostate cancer journey 4 years ago, the RHOA alum says that he's adamant about not having his prostate removed or suffering the way that he's seen others suffer. So we are exploring possibilities to see what route to go, and we have not come up with that yet, he tells People. I have a great team, about 4 different doctors, 2 urologists, another specialist, and my family physician. So I'm comfortable and I'm forever grateful to have such a team and support, and we are going to figure it out. But I feel good, Eubanks stresses. I'm 6'4", that's young to I'm 64, that's young to me. We're all going through something. But when we reach those bridges, you have to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and carry on, because life really is a beautiful thing. We are sending healing to Dwight during this prostate diagnosis. Glad that he's getting the treatment that he needs. Let's continue to hold him up in prayer during this time. But it's a reminder for those that might be hearing this. It's a reminder to you, if you've been waiting to go get your physical, to ask your doctor. Mind you, I didn't just remind my doctor, like, are we good in regards to it? But I'm itching towards that age where I have to start getting that done regularly. Here, I'm always at the doctor. I'm just saying. But he's gone to the doctor as well, and they missed it. He was always at the doctor as well. So there are questions to be asked. So if you're hearing this, or you're a loved one that has a husband or a brother, this is your opportunity to say, have you gotten your prostate checked? Have you gone for your physical this year? Maybe you should. Guys, welcome back. First of all, let me know if you guys can see me, hear me, all the things. We're live on Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, and of course here on YouTube for our weekly recap of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. What's going on, everyone? Shout out to our King's Guard. Shout out to our channel members. It is a members only live chat today. Hey, everyone. I just rewatched the last 20 minutes of the Real Housewives of Atlanta just because there were some things. That I just wanted to revisit. I also watched the Real Housewives of Atlanta after show. Guys, if you had to rate this week's episode of Atlanta from 1 to 10, how would you rate it? Live chat on YouTube. Be sure to vote in our live chat poll. Okay. What's going on, everyone? Thank you so much, Foxy. Foxy's letting us know that you guys can hear me and see me. Fantastic. For those that are watching on Twitch and Twitter, feel free to watch on any of those options. Shout out to those of you watching on TikTok. TikTok is rating it a 3. TikTok's rating it a 6. All right. Let me see what else you guys are saying. Okay, Foxy gave it a 7. Elle says, watching from Atlanta. Okay. Jasmine says, looking good, Kempire. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Shereé says, Kempire, make Monday great. We're trying. We're definitely trying. Miss Melon Magic gave it a rating of 5. Pageant Mommy gave it a rating of 7. Okay. All right. What's going on, everyone? Thank you so much, Miss Dink, for the roses on TikTok. All right. If I had to rate this week's episode, so I watched it again, so it kind of probably upped my rating from when I watched it last night. And last night, I kind of was sort of like, but it's just the beginning of a trip. And as you know, I'm rating Real Housewives of Atlanta on a curve because of how bad Real Housewives of New York was. Sidebar, congratulations to Uba. Uba Hassan announced over the weekend that she's engaged. Congratulations. Okay. But if I had to rate it, okay, last night's rating of Real Housewives of Atlanta for me probably would have been like a 6. No, maybe like a 4. Probably like a 4. But today, I probably would give it a 6. Okay. Kiani says, I'm giving it a 6, watching from my desk in DC. Speaking of DC, guys, don't forget the Kempire After Dark live show is coming to Philadelphia first. Philly, have you gotten your tickets yet? We're coming there on July 10th. There are meet and greets available for that show. We'll be at City Winery on July 10th in Philadelphia. Then we're coming to Atlanta on August 5th at City Winery there. Then we're back in Washington, D.C. DC, you're getting 2 shows already in 1 year, okay? Show up, get your tickets, okay? That ticket information is available in the description. And of course, we're coming back to New York City on September 12th at the Green Room 42. All ticket information is available in the description. But Billy, you're up first. You're literally like a month away, about a month away, a month and a week away. So go get your tickets today and get your meet and greet tickets as well. All right? Yes, Jasmine says, I'll see y'all in New York City in September. Come on, Jasmine. Also, guys, don't forget, we are celebrating Pride. And what we do here all the time, we do a fundraiser for the center and a fantastic organization, which we've raised money for last year, the previous year, and I think the previous year before that, we've raised money. So let's do it again this year. We're trying to raise $3,000 for the center. Go check out one of our last videos. If you're watching the replay of this, you'll see it somewhere along the side of this video. Help us reach our goal. The same way y'all help raise $500 to bring this sorry song. Set me free. That's all you're getting. We could raise $3,000 in the month of June for the center that's doing amazing work. Just a reminder, too, a lot of these organizations, I was just talking to my friend who works for a nonprofit in Florida, a lot of this funding with this new administration is up in the air or non-existent. So these organizations are relying on us to help support them these next 4 years. So help us, a place that I went to as a young LGBTQIA individual here in New York City would go to. I still go there every once in a while, see what's going on. Say, hey, y'all. Okay. But our youth needs your support. So help us raise at least $3,000. I mean, my goal really is $5,000. Come on. But I said, let's start small. Let's go past our goal from last year. All right. So help us this month to raise $3,000 for the center here in New York City. So anyway, yes, come on. Miss Esquire. I feel like I haven't seen Miss Esquire in a minute. Miss Esquire says we will definitely do 6 set me freeze. Let's get it, y'all. Well, if that will help us raise $3,000 before the end of the month, I will. Okay. Matter of fact, one time, look. Donate your money. Donate your money. Look. Donate your money. Okay. Not in a super chat. After the live, go to one of our last videos and you can donate to the video that we did on Brian McKnight's son and things like that. There is a donation button right there. After this live, there will be a donation button somewhere around here. All right, let's get to our Real Housewives of Atlanta recap. Guys, again, be sure to let me know how you would rate this week's episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta. Has it gotten better for you? We're on episode 13. They're filming the reunion this week, Thursday, here in New York City. I guess we'll have to wait and see what the rest of the season is going to look like. I will say, Phadra, for me, again, this is only her second episode. She came in at the end of last week's episode. Everyone said, oh, the ratings were because of Memorial Day. We shall see what the ratings look like this week. But based on what we've gotten from Phadra so far, I'm sort of like, y'all made Phadra full-time, but we're hearing about Cynthia's boyfriend in this episode? Okay. It's not my money, so it's Bravo's money. This is how you want to spend your money. Fine. Okay, we'll talk about Cynthia's situation in a second. All right, let me get into this. Okay, so Shamia is at her home, her $9 million home, collecting things for Grenada, because they had the hurricane around the filming of this right before that. So they were collecting items from the group. So everyone gave something. So Brit Edie shows up with 2 packs of toilet paper and some other little things in a big old box, like she was donating something. And she's like, it was too much other stuff to bring. Let me get back to my nails on. There was too much stuff for me to bring, but he'll be back here a little bit later to give you, some more things. And Shamia's looking at her like, girl, the guy that's picking up these things will be here in an hour. Can he get here in an hour? Brit. And look, I've been easy on you. I didn't report on the people suing you. Okay. We did report on okay, let me take a backtrack. So Brit Edie, as you know, was being called out last week by the event decorator, not planner. She referred to it as a planner in this episode. She was called out by the event decorator. And I guess the event decorator knew that she was going to end up talking more about her because it was kind of interesting timing. But here's the thing. I kind of look at I get why the event decorator was coming out and telling her side, because you don't want people to think that your business is shaky and that you're not, because you're on a national platform, you don't want people to question your business. So I understood. But then when I saw a few different bloggers reporting on it, and saying that the event planner reached out to me, I said, I get it. You want to tell your side, but why are you reaching out to bloggers? Why are you reaching out to bloggers? Nothing wrong with a blogger. I am one. But you get what I'm saying? I kind of look at you like, you a little suspect. But I get it. At the same time, maybe you felt like that was your only avenue of people wanting to hear your side. But I was sort of like, But anyway. So apparently people did end up eating at this event. Or some people did, not everyone. Maybe the bloggers got to eat at the event. No one else did. So here's the thing. Like, as if it couldn't get any worse with Brit Edie. Lack of personality, the tired beef with Kenya, not really bringing anything, that voice, the event planner saying that she's still battling her with when it comes to how much she's owed for what she did. Only for us to find out that Brit Edie and her husband are being sued by the country club for $10,000. So she didn't pay for that either. Well, good point. Pageant Mommy says she was defending her business, but we didn't even know the company. But maybe she wanted to promote off the back of the drama. Because now we do. Jasmine says, light bites. That's what she said. Light bites. Girl. You didn't even have to do a big event. All you had to do was maybe host the women and do that, as opposed to, but you wanted the bloggers on your side during filming. That's probably why you hosted all these other people there. We find out at the end of this episode that she invited Apollo and Shereé, and she wanted to clear the air with Phadra. Phadra, I just want to let you know that Apollo and his wife were invited. However, I don't have a relationship with Apollo. My husband did it. Now I'm thinking the fact that you're telling on yourself, Brit, you're telling on yourself. So you probably invited him. First of all, you wanted to have a moment. You noticed because no one was talking about Brit. You probably forgot that Brit was even at the table at the time. And she wanted to have her moment like, I think, even though it made sense to what she was saying when they were talking about filming with exes and things like that, but Apollo and Shereé didn't even show up. So what was the point of even bringing that up? Oh, in case it was brought up later? But they didn't even show up. But I think she partly wanted to have a moment. And she was being messy. I think her inviting Apollo to this event was her being messy. Why would you invite Apollo and Shereé? And you said that you don't have a relationship with them. Why would your husband invite someone to your event that you don't have a relationship with, but you know he's been on the show? Oh, because y'all probably were trying to be messy. Not your husband being messy. Screw face. Thank you, Miss Esquire, for the super chat. Miss Esquire says, not Dr. Greg's song becoming an anthem. Happy Pride. Don't you dare. No, not it becoming an anthem. Oh, Aisha, we talked about this on the podcast yesterday. If you missed my weekend update, it's also available here on YouTube. Aisha, thank you for being a member too. Aisha says, I don't need to say thank you because all of you are members here. It's a members only live chat. Shout out to our members. Aisha says, did she invite Apollo's 20-year-old son as well? I don't even think he's 20. I think he's older than 20 because he said he was 20 when he went to go visit Apollo in lockup. We talked about that. Apollo has a secret son that he conveniently is telling us about now, even though he found out when he was in prison. He's been out of prison for how many years now? Why are we just finding out about this? Why are we just finding? Did he post about this son on socials? But that's a whole other situation. I think the timing is very interesting. If it comes up on Real Housewives of Atlanta, or is this Apollo's way of trying to get him and Shereé on Real Housewives of Atlanta? Because what else is Apollo doing for work? Wow, we have made such a digression. How do we go from talking about this show? Oh, because of Brit. Thanks a lot, Brit. All right. Moving on. Let me focus on the situation at hand, okay? So Shamia is collecting all the things for Grenada relief, okay? So Shia is out there helping her. Shia is adorable. I love seeing scenes with little Shia because she has such a personality. And Shia's just like, I don't want to give away those clothes. She's like, well, you've outgrown these clothes. She's like, not all of them. So Shamia is just like, in order to receive, you must give. I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, I think when you give, you receive naturally. I just feel like, me personally, and this is not anything on Shamia, I just feel like saying in order to give, that to me, the intention behind giving is important. So you giving just so that you can receive, I know that's probably not what she meant, or maybe she did, but I just thought that was interesting. But anyway, all right. So Shamia says that she believes in paying it forward. She talks about how she pays it forward. Kelli comes over, and of course, Kelly's like, woof. Thankfully, she didn't bring the mangy dog. Sorry, Cha-Cha. Poor Cha-Cha. So Brit comes over with her empty boxes and talking about, oh, I have more things coming. And I will give it to Shamia. Shamia had me laughing a couple times in her confessionals because she was like, oh, I get it what she was doing here because there was barely anything in the boxes. So she was just like, I get it. She was doing bare naked. Okay. All right, Shamia. All right. So then they talk about Brit's event, and she was just like, I had such a worse experience with my event planner, event decorator. Here's the thing. For those that are in that business, I've never really thought of an event decorator. I always think of an event planner who does everything. And maybe that's what Brit was under the impression that she hired an event planner, because that's what she called her in the scene. So maybe she was confused. Because I was a little confused. So I was like, well, if I was hiring an event planner, I would assume that you're doing everything. You're helping us plan the event. I don't think I would just hire an event decorator and then go get me a planner and a caterer and this and that. I'm not. But maybe there was some miscommunication. But I know there was no miscommunication when it comes to that bill. Apparently there is, because allegedly, the event decorator, okay, so it's saying that she's owed money. And now the country club is suing, allegedly. I'm just going to say allegedly. The country club is suing Michael for $10,000 for not paying. Okay. Or maybe that's what his balance was. Okay. See, now if you had hired an event planner, all of those details would have been taken care of. And then only one person probably would be suing you for money owed, and it would be the event planner. Okay. Aisha says Brit didn't eat. She didn't read the fine print. I was going to say something bad, but I'll leave that for Kempire After Dark. More information on Kempire After Dark, Philly, Atlanta, Washington, D.C., New York. Ticket information is available in the description. Deborah says an event decorator is someone that just decorates your space. I know what an event decorator is, but my thing is if I'm hiring someone to do something like an event, I'm hiring an event planner. So they're going to take care of the decorations. They're going to take care of the event space. I don't know if there was a miscommunication on what this woman's role was, but at this point, can I be honest with you? Anytime I see a story about Brit Edie, I only report on it because you guys keep hitting me up about it. Honestly, Brit Edie is unimportant. For me, she's a non-motherfucking factor. I only talk about her because she's on the show and you guys keep hitting me up. Kempire, did you see this? Or y'all tag me here on TikTok. Did you see this? I did, and I don't care. Sorry. I don't care. You guys are making her more relevant than she needs to be. Don't care. Anyway, that's just me, though. But maybe y'all do. That's why y'all hit me up. But I also think you guys hit me up with that information because you're like, look, another thing. Another reason not to like her. I get it. This is why. I know you guys don't care about her either, but a lot of you are just hitting me up. But I feel the pressure, like y'all keep hitting me up like y'all need me to talk about it. I'm like, I really don't care about her. I don't. Pageant Mommy says, Kempire, you know Brit is taking the cheapest way out. And I'm not surprised by that. All right, let's move on. Then they talk about, Shamia then talks about Drew standing 10 toes down on calling her a lapdog. Let me tell you something, Shamia. As a Taurus, I know. Don't tell people the thing that makes you the most annoyed. Because clearly now everybody's going to be in your comments because they know you are so triggered by being called a lapdog. Someone said, I need a sip of water. You're right. Let me take a sip. Shamia, stop letting people know that being a lapdog is your trigger. It's too late now. We already know. But let it go. Speaking of Shamia, I talked about this on the podcast, the weekend update over the weekend, about Shamia being on, it's another Bravo show with Kate Chastain. And she was talking about filming with Ralph. And she says, well, we did a podcast together. And then she was just like, oh, and I wanted to get a lick back at Drew. And then she was in the comment section of the Bravo Shade Room and saying, it was just a joke. No, the real reason that you filmed with Ralph was so that you could get back at Drew in hopes of supporting your friend Porsha. Again, lapdog behavior, unfortunately. And I wasn't even one of the people calling you a lapdog. You just keep showing reasons why people are calling you that. She says, it was just a joke. You said, some people say there's some truth in jokes. But okay. The ladies then ask her about, what's going on with you and Porsha? And she says, we had a conversation. Here's the thing, Shamia. I feel like you do kind of, in those situations, give the women fodder to run with. Instead of just saying, everything is good. I think people were carrying a bone to Porsha that wasn't really there. We've been good. Yes, we've had our challenges, but we've been good. But in that moment, I felt like she was sort of like, growth and this and that. I was sort of like, it didn't seem like that was necessarily that you guys are better. It really felt like you were sort of like, well, we're figuring things out. We had a conversation. We both cried. I was like, okay. But clearly something does happen because they're not in a good space now. And it's interesting. And I wonder if it's going to play out during the trip. Because even in this episode, we see them having each other's back, at least for now. But we'll have to wait and see. Okay. Damn. Miss Melanie Magic says she is rough. You know what? Here's the thing too, Shamia. You're the reason why now people are probably going to bark at you when they see you. Not to say that they should, but you're the one on this show and on Watch What Happens Live barking. Like, girl, just say you don't have a clever comeback. All right, let's move on. Drew and Porsha finally sit down. We're on episode 13. They started talking about Porsha's issue with Drew filming with Dennis in episode 1. This is how long it's taken for Porsha to finally let go of the bone when it comes to her issues with Drew that she's been dragging out as a storyline. Okay? So I just want to paint that picture for you. Episode 1 is when Porsha brought up the issues with Drew filming with Dennis. We're now on episode 13. She's finally sitting down with Drew. And Drew's wearing go naked hair. And Porsha was like, that's not go naked hair. She's like, well, she said it on her socials. She's like, it's a mixture. I have to say that made me giggle. She says, it's a mixture. Is it? It looked like a full wig, but okay. I mean, the hair did look a little fried. It's not been the best look for Drew, but Drew has looked good for the majority of this season. So I'm going to give Drew some grace. Okay. All right. Let me move this over here. Okay. Where are we? All right. Before we move on, guys, don't forget today's live show is brought to you by our friends over at Factor Meals. Whenever we have a Monday show, I have our recap for Real Housewives of Atlanta. Then, of course, later today, I will be dropping our Diddy trial day 14 update. I don't have time to cook this evening. Factor Meals makes it simple and easy to give you a chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meal. They have something for everyone from protein plus to keto, and they have 40-plus add-ons. But, of course, I'm sure you want a discount. Get started at factormeals.com/Kempire50 and use code Kempire50 off. Wait, let me go back. Get started at factormeals.com/Kempire50 off and use code Kempire50 off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code Kempire50 off at factormeals.com/Kempire50 off for 50% off plus free shipping. Factormeals.com/Kempire50 off. More information on Factor Meals will be available in the description. All right, so let's get back into this. So Porsha and Drew sit down. What was up with Drew and the whole tea situation? She's like, oh, I want that ginger and turmeric because that's going to be good for my throat. As a singer, I'm like, Drew, ginger and turmeric is not necessarily really good for your throat. It's good for your body, and it's definitely good for your stomach. Maybe she had the bubble guts and she didn't want to say it and she wanted to make it about her throat. You need tea and honey and lemon. You don't need no ginger and turmeric. That's not going to be good for your throat. But she was so pressed about it. In my throat. I was like, girl, that's not good for your throat. You need honey, some lemon, and warm water. Okay? I'm like, okay, fine. She's like, I'm feeling a little hoarse. I was like, she got the bubble guts. She don't want to say it on camera, and she's got the bubble guts, and she didn't want to say it because ginger and turmeric are going to be great for that tummy. All right, Drew. All right, so the ladies sit down finally and have a conversation, and Porsha says, Porsha seems bothered when Drew says that, brings up that she signed her record deal with Dennis because Porsha brings up, oh, you're going to have your showcase. And she's like, oh, I don't know if I told you, but, I signed my record deal with Dennis. Did you guys see Porsha's face? She was just like, she seemed a little like she didn't want to talk about it. Shereé says, teach the people, Kempire. I was like, ginger and turmeric for your voice? Brr. Yeah. But okay. So Porsha's reaction to that was interesting. I don't know why. You should be happy. Whatever success that they have will be good. They'll help pay for some snacks when it comes to PJ's life. I don't know. Whatever. Okay, so Drew then brings up the fact that because they talk about their issue with her filming with Dennis. All right. Porsha says that she's now ready to have the conversation. She's now ready to move on. It is what it is. But then Drew brings up because Angela told her that Porsha had filmed with Ralph. And Porsha then decides to bring up that, like, I don't understand why you don't just tell people that you're dating Black. And we're like, who's Black? So Drew hits her back and is just like, well, we could also talk about you dating Future. And Portia's like, I don't even know Future. But that was the word on the street, too, at some particular point. Sidebar, Drew, the reunion's on Thursday, and I know you probably watched this. Drew, you don't have to bring up Future at the reunion. Bring up and go learn his name, the president of Nigeria. Here's the thing. This is Housewives. They come for each other. They bring up crazy things all the time. But I have to agree with Drew. You're randomly, first of all, you had an issue with me working with Dennis and filming with Dennis. Then you are spreading this rumor, you and Shamia were spreading this rumor that Dennis and I were sleeping together. Now, in this conversation where we're supposed to sit down and maybe have some resolution, you're bringing up some other guy that I might be sleeping with. So I understood why Drew was like, well, if you just want to bring up some random person, I could bring up what people are saying on the street about you dating Future. I understood. Drew is making a lot of sense this season. She hasn't made a lot of sense over the years, but she's making a lot of sense this season. Okay, so she's like, I could bring that up, and Portia's just like, I don't even know Future. Okay, that's not what the streets are saying though, Porsha. Okay, Drew says that Portia's divorce is the big elephant in the room, though. So Drew is calling her out. What we've been saying since episode 1, Porsha does not want to talk about what's really going on with her in Simon. Sidebar. After I finished watching the episode on Peacock, they showed a clip, I guess, from Porsha's Family of Lies. I don't know. It was so weird how it came up. And I was like, do y'all, because, I always do Simon's voice like this. And I really thought I got more bass in my voice than Simon does. Like, I can't even do his voice. That man really has got, y'all love to talk about Brit Edie's voice. Why are we not talking about Simon's no bass of a voice? Like he never went through puberty. Go listen to Simon's voice. This is part of the reason why I was like, I can't watch and I don't want to see Simon this season. So I'm kind of glad they got a divorce.
It's this, honey.
It came up. I'm trying to, get ready for this live. Then all of a sudden, they show a clip from Porsha's Family of Lies, and they're looking at a house, and the house I think that they're living in now, or were living in together. And Simon's voice is just like, I was like, no bass in his voice at all. I can't even do it because I got bass in my voice. Okay. Forever Tyranny says we did talk about his voice too. We did. I'm talking the community here. I'm talking about the other streets. We hear the community talk about his voice. That's why I say Simon Gabadia. Oh, maybe I can do a little bit. I still got a little more bass. I got more bass in my voice than he does. Mr. Bell imagines as kept Simon's gonna get you when ICE lets him go. I heard rumors that he might be out. Have y'all seen anything on social media? Because he's that's the first place he's going to go. Raj, thank you so much for the super chat. Raj says Atlanta is 13 episodes in and still boring. I would rather watch a reality show about Kempire and his skincare routine. First of all, that sounds boring because it's going to be one episode. Oh, but it's all right. Anyway, hold on. Let me mute this. people requesting me. Shout out to everyone watching on TikTok. We appreciate you guys. TikTok, keep tapping your screens. We're talking about the latest episode of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Those of you that are watching on YouTube, be sure to like the video as well. It's an easy and free way of supporting not just my channel, but other channels as well. So Porsha and Drew's conversation goes left when Drew points out, like, you don't want to talk about the elephant in the room, and that's your divorce. I kind of understand why Porsha doesn't want to talk about the divorce, because we saw how Simon was behaving when he was out here amongst the free world, how he was acting on social media. So maybe she didn't want to say anything on there that would trigger him reacting even more. I don't know. But again, girl, there's nothing else for you to talk about. So it does feel like you're dragging out whatever this is as a storyline. And Drew calls her out for it. And because Drew calls her out for it, it gets heated between them. And Porsha gets up and leaves. Porsha, this is why they're saying your return is a flop. A flop. You didn't get up to say anything. You got up and you left. And it was like, she's like, I'm not giving her my energy. You're not giving the audience your energy. And you are the highest paid on this cast. And you've been boring for the most. I mean, if anything, she's given us a couple of funny moments. But again, she's giving friend up vibes. Porsha, you're getting paid full time, millions of dollars to be on this show. And you're telling your friend Shamia, who called you out in that conversation, that was quite telling that Shamia called her out that way. Because in my head, Shamia was basically calling her out, saying, like, this friendship is over. I can say whatever I want now. Right? Because I was like, because especially as a tourist, I can tell that she was done with Porsha then. Because, like, I'm still sitting on secrets from friends that I'm no longer friends with. So the fact that she was sort of calling Porsha out, saying, like you said, you could have to get paid more. As tourists, we are vaults when it comes to your secrets, unless you tell me I could share it. So I was like, that was quite telling. Just pointing it out, okay? So Porsha gets up and she leaves the conversation. So we really don't make it to any sort of resolve after 13 episodes. Well, until we get to Grenada. We'll get there. So Kelly's at home with her kids. She's getting ready for the trip. She tells the kids that Lamont's going to take them to school, all right? And one of the kids says, and one of the twins say, they're going to think that Lamont's our dad. And one of the other kids says, they don't need to know her business. Kids are so funny. They don't need to know her business. But poor thing. I mean, they're young. When she said that, it kind of broke my heart for her. You know what I mean? Because she hasn't seen her dad. At least I don't know. I don't know what the arrangement is right now. But it doesn't seem like they're seeing the dad. Kelly goes down to talk with her publicist, a.k.a. her friend, Lamont, and her other friend is there as well. And she first tells him, you know, you're going to have to take them all to different schools, 3 different schools. And you're going to have to do it at 7 o'clock. And he's like, huh? 7 o'clock in the morning. All right. So Lamont then says that he reached out to her ex, Marc. What we found out, I think it was in the after show, Kelly says that Marc actually hired Lamont as their publicist. And so he has a relationship with Marc, her ex. So he said he had a conversation with Marc, and in the after show, basically Lamont said that he called Kelly the devil, that he's not going to do anything, he's not going to work with her, blah, 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 blah. I did have a moment. I do believe Kelly. I do believe her that this man was horrendous because she said he got held in contempt in court. So that already told me everything that I needed to know about Marc. Okay, besides that picture of them when they got married. But then I had a slight moment. I was like, what if Kelly was lying to us? And I have to say, Marc has not done any interviews. At least he doesn't seem like one of these messy other husbands that are currently on this cast. He hasn't done any interviews. He hasn't spoken out. He did release a statement, I think, when their divorce was made in the news. But other than that, I haven't seen anything, but let me not speak too soon. Next week he'll be on one of these YouTube channels doing an interview. But anyway, so Lamont had that conversation with Marc, and Marc just did not seem willing to work with Kelli. And Kelli basically says that she just wants him to be able to take care of the kids. She doesn't feel like she should be the only one taking care of the kids. And I'm wondering if she means both financially and emotionally. I think financially as well, because remember she said that she owes her attorney like $100 and something thousand. And I think he owes her child support as well. What did he do for a living? Her husband. Do we know anything besides that? Because it seemed like he had a little, like their investments in the restaurants and things like that. They did that together. What was his job? Do we know? Just asking. Don't really care, to be honest. Good point. R. Bless says, the crazy ones stay quiet, Kempire, probably trying to avoid getting in more trouble with the court. Well, I'm glad. I prefer it. But I just noticed, I was like, well, we're just taking everything. You know, I try to be fair. If he had come out and did an interview, we might have a different perspective. But based on what Kelli has said about him, he sounded like he was abusive, unhinged. He's left, and what he said about the older daughter, he basically helped raise the older daughter. She's known him since she was a little girl, and now he doesn't even reach out to her. So that already told me a little bit about his character. Because just because you get a divorce doesn't mean someone you help raise, you just sort of are done with. That's kind of weird. But anyway, not to say that he's not the only one that's done that. So Kelli gets really emotional talking about that and hearing what Lamont has to say in regards to Marc being stubborn and not wanting to work with her. Okay. All right. So the women get ready for their trip and they are flying out to Grenada. Angela says that they're all arriving. Angela meets Phadra for the first time, and she says, I'm going to put everything. She says, Phadra seems like she's a lot of fun. She says she's going to put aside anything that she has heard about Phadra. Look, the Atlanta streets be talking, but also these shows have shown her another side of Phadra. But then Phadra meets her and Phadra hugs her. And look, Phadra, I feel like because she knows she's coming in at the end of the season, she's made full time. So they want Phadra to be Phadra, what people love of Phadra, being shady in the confessionals. It just feels unwarranted. So Phadra says in the confessional, Angela, is the oldest looking young woman I've ever met. Hopefully her personality is more youthful than her face. Here's the thing. Because if we're going to be honest, and Phadra, you left us open to talk about this because you're the one coming at her with this. And look, you're not the first person to say that you think that Angela gives an older energy. But to say that she looks, I've already said this, like, I don't think Angela looks old. I feel like she just gives like an older energy. And it could be hairstyles. It could be the plastic surgery. I don't know. But for her to be like, her, of all people, rewind the tape when she was first on this show. And she was what? How old was Phadra? I know she was pregnant, but she looked like an older woman pregnant. She was very frumpy dumpy. I was like, you of all people. And now even when you put a wig and all this makeup on and all this Thoughtlandia gear on, you look like an older woman trying to be one of these young girls. Come on. And I have to say, Angela was giving faith. Those braids, Angela, were good. Okay? The face that she was giving at that dinner table, I was like, but besides the lighting was terrible on all their makeup. I don't know what was going on with that lighting, but everyone had a little bit of shade of yellow or neon on them. But Angela was still giving face all through that. But Phadra, when I feel like she feels like she has to work overtime to secure her spot on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Oh, I did see that Phadra's tagline came out. Hold on, let me bring it up. Please hold. And because I have things to say about this tagline. Because y'all, and this is Bravo. Remember, the ladies help decide their tagline, but they are not the deciding factor. They have a bunch of different taglines that they go through, and then production decides on your tagline. Well, production in the network decide on your tagline. So this is Phadra's tagline. Let me bring this up for you guys. So Phadra's tagline, because now she's full-time on the show, she says, "I returned from the dead. Now let's bury the past for good." I returned from the dead. Now let's bury the past for good. I feel like we could have buried the past if, at least with me, you guys let me know if you would feel the same. If she showed accountability, if she really did apologize. But we talked about this last week on how Phadra handled her departure from Real Housewives of Atlanta with no accountability, no real remorse, never an apology. But they want us to move on. The audience is not going to move on until Phadra says, "You know what, Candy, I'm sorry for what I did." Or, "I'm sorry to the audience for perpetuating something like that. Because I know some of you actually enjoyed me on the show, and I'm the reason why I'm no longer on the show. A person that you enjoyed being on the show." I know a lot of people are like, well, she doesn't need to apologize to Candy, or she doesn't need to apologize to us. She don't need to apologize to me. But I'm always going to remember what you did and the fact that you have not taken accountability. And Bravo is basically saying to us, oh, yes, she's returned from the dead, and now let's bury the past for good. We can't until she decides to actually apologize. Apologize, Phadra. But anyway. So that is her tagline. That is Phadra's tagline for the new season. Production and the network wants the audience to move on. They don't want in season 17 anyone talking about the Candy and the Phadra of it all. We're going to continue because she's never accountable for it. So we're going to continue to talk about it. When she apologizes, I can move on. Look, I can move on. I'm sure Candy would have moved on. She probably would have never been Phadra's friend again, but very much like how she's friends with Porsha, because Porsha apologized to her. I think that her and Phadra at least could be at peace in regards to that. But that's just me. All right. Natty says, accept your past, accept your past, accept your past. All right. Let me see. Okay, Jay says, I personally like the tagline. I don't think there's anything wrong with the tagline. What I'm talking about is the motivation behind the tagline. The tagline is good, but for me, it's the motivation. It's the sort of like the underlying message of what they're trying to say here. And that is for the audience to move on. I was like, Bravo, you're not going to tell us to move on when this woman just last week is still not holding herself accountable or apologizing for what she did when being on this show. Phadra from the Traders is bringing new blood to Bravo. On TikTok, someone says. No, she's not. She's bringing the same old thing. Oh, exactly. Joy, we can't. I know people forget that she's a lawyer. Win a case. Joy says, on top of that, she is a lawyer. She's an active lawyer. She knew what she was doing, and she knew what she did. She really risked a lot when it comes to her career by doing that. Jay says, yes, I totally understand what you're saying. Sure. For sure. But I think it is if this was someone else's tagline, I'd be like, yeah, that's a good tagline. But okay. Yeah, exactly. Miss Fancy Pants says the tagline is great, but the context makes it bad. Yeah. But anyway, I'm not holding on to it. I know there are a lot of fans that are holding on to it. The only reason why I bring it up is because she's in our face. She's on this show. So it's rich when something relatable to that situation comes up. You have to talk about it. You have to bring it up. Exact. Sage says, Bravo loves to gaslight us low key. Because remember, that's why I have to point out to you, it's not Phadra necessarily choosing the tagline. She doesn't choose it. This might have been one that she gave them that she would like, but they decide on the final tagline. Ms. Buck says, I enjoyed her in Traders. We all did, because we didn't have to talk about her personal life. It was her playing a game, and she was funny, and she was She was just mixing and mingling. I like her on something like that. But if we're talking about your personal life and you're lying to us, like, come on now. Pageant Mommy says, well, did Kandi or Todd sue her? Not everybody is litigious. Not everybody feels like it's worth. Honestly, I think if Bravo allowed Phadra to return, maybe we would have sought a lawsuit. I wouldn't be surprised if Kandi was like, I'm not working with this woman. I know Kandi has said that she is not the reason why Phadra was not on the show, but I'm pretty sure behind the scenes, honey. Remember the new Tamar and Nene interview? I wouldn't be surprised behind the scenes Kandi was like causing an uproar. Wouldn't you though? When you talk about these things, when you have multiple businesses, when you actually have something to lose? All right. Okay. Oh, Queen. Queen, thank you so much for the super chat. Queen says, just booked my Atlanta ticket and I am crying. My ticket is in your face front seat. Wait. OC takes Atlanta. Oh, you're coming from the OC? Okay, Queen. Thank you for the reminder, y'all. Don't forget the Kempire After Dark, a live show, is coming to Atlanta on August 5th. But first, we'll be in Philadelphia. All you Philly folks were hitting me up saying, Kempire, we should have sold out already. I know, we have a month away, more than a month away. But still, the way y'all act up, Atlanta, I have to say, though, Atlanta and Philly are neck and neck when it comes to ticket sales. But Philly, you're up first, though. Atlanta's 2 months away. Okay. Anyway, I'm excited to see everyone. Philadelphia, July 10th, sorry. July 10th, I'll be in Philadelphia. August 5th, we'll be in Atlanta. August 22nd, I will be in Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C., we're working on something else, so stay tuned. But go get your tickets for that show. And I'll be coming to New York City. I live in New York. But we'll have our New York City show, which has a live stream option. All the shows have a meet and greet option, so get your meet and greets available as well. All information on the Kempire After Dark, the villain era, is coming to a city near you. All that information will be available in the description. MR, you're making a lot of interesting comments in the TikTok live. All right. Thank you so much, Queen, for the super chat. And I will see you in Atlanta, front and center. I'm not going to be able to miss Queen. Miss Queen, wear like a good color so I know it's you. And let me know what the color is. And I'll be like, I remember. Okay? All right. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. All right. I've digressed so much. All right, where was I? Oh, Phadra calling Angela's face old. Let me read that line again. Sorry, Angela. I just thought it was funny. I thought it was funny coming from Phadra, who looks like an older woman trying to dress like a younger woman. And look, Phadra, people talk about, because when I went to BravoCon that first time, and I was just randomly taking a picture of Phadra because she was there, and I was taking a picture like paparazzi. And I posted, and people were like, who's that? Because they were like, the Phadra they see on Instagram versus the Phadra that they saw in that picture was not the same woman. They was like, she's also like a 2 shades lighter on Instagram versus that picture. I don't know what to tell you guys. I don't know, okay? But anyway. So Phadra says when she meets Angela, Two-Face hugging her up, and then in her confession looking like Elvira, saying, Angela's the oldest looking young woman I've ever met. Hopefully she... Oh, I froze. Please hold. Oh. Testing. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Now I got to read it again. She says, Angela's the oldest looking young woman I've ever met. Ooh. She says, hopefully her personality is more youthful than her face. I mean, it's kind of funny when I say it, but it's just like, come on, leave Angela alone. She didn't do anything to you yet. So then Shamia shades Phadra, which I thought was funny. Sidebar. And maybe this is just a fan thing. Because the way that people were dragging Cynthia for filming with Brit or being friendly with Brit, but no one is dragging Shamia for being friendly with Phadra of all what Phadra did. or any of them being friendly with Phadra. So I was just like, that's interesting. But anyway, I thought this was funny when Shamia shades Phadra saying, she said, in regards to the trip, she says, anyone that needs to be bailed out of, in regards to Phadra being useful on this trip, she says, anyone that needs to be bailed out of jail, she'll be there to do it. She says, and anyone that needs to be framed for something, she'll be there to do it. Remember, Shamia's like best friends with Candy. That was her lick back, okay? That was her lick back. I thought that was funny, okay? Anybody that needs to be bailed out of jail, she'll be there to do it. Anybody that needs to be framed for something, she'll be there to do it. Wait. Oh my God. Oh wait, hold on.
Simon, this is what you need. You need a voice box so that when you can get a little more bass in your voice, Simon. Maybe when you get to Nigeria, will they still let him in Dubai? I wonder.
Let me get back. Let me take a sip. I thought that was funny. I told you both Porsha and Shamia had some funny confessional moments for me. All right, so the women arrive in Grenada, but Shamia's luggage does not arrive with her. That is, that's happened to me once, and I've traveled a lot. So one time that happening is not a big deal, and that happened when I went to Denmark a couple of years ago during the holidays. And I was just like, oh my gosh. But the smart thing to do with your carry-on is to put a couple of like outfits in there or something that you can wear more than once in your carry-on. So I fell for it for Shamia. I was like, oh, that's like the worst. Especially on a filmed cast trip because it's all about what you're wearing, the looks, everyone's looking great. But you're also traveling with your good girlfriend. I don't know if her and Porsha wear similar sizes, but just saying. So they're all in separate cars, and Phadra reacts to Drew, and she says that, because again, they want to, I feel like Phadra's overperforming. She's like, I know Drew's been in a lot of black movies. Mind you, they have to remind us Step Up is not a black movie. And she's like, well, Drew has been in Step Up. Okay. She's like, I know she's been in a lot of black movies. And she dresses very interesting. She's also got an interesting vibe. You have an interesting vibe. Everything that she's got to say about Drew, I have to say is similar to you. You guys you have a lot in common. You have a lot in common. The interesting looks and the interesting vibe. Can we agree? But anyway, I think because everyone's against Drew, Phadra is going to go whatever side that seems fitting for her. Okay. All right. Wait, I scrolled up too far. Okay. All right. So Drew talks about what her issues are. Angela points out that Drew is the beef right now. And Drew brings up Shamia's V103 interview and why she had an issue with what Shamia had said about that. We talked about that endlessly last week, but that's the issue. So when they get to the hotel or the villa, I'm not sure what you would call it there, and they learn that they decided that the group is going to all share a room. They're all going to have roommates. But when you see the setup, it's sort of like they're in suites. So it's not that big of a deal because you really do have your own room, but you're sharing a space. Here's the thing, and it could be just logistical. When I first saw that the whole idea of them being roommates, I was like, well, production is desperate at this particular point. We're at the cash trip. They hired Phadra at the last minute. They want to force these women that don't necessarily get along with each other. So they don't want them all staying in the same room, meaning like the people that get along. So they want to mix it up and kind of cause some friction. So I think that was the motivation, not necessarily, whatever. I think the motivation was to produce a reality show, to get some interest because the season has been lackluster. We're on episode 13. They bring in Phadra in the last hour. Did you guys notice when Shamia and Kelli were looking through the little gift bags and they were like, whose bag is this? And they were like, oh, Phadra, because probably her bag didn't have a name on it because it was a last-minute hire. They brought her in to shake things up. I guess we'll see. The last time she shook things up, she got fired. Okay. All right. So Shereé and Kelli are talking, and as I said before, they were looking through the bags. Shereé brings up Drew talking about her on social media and talking about this, creating imaginary beef. So Shereé points out, like, well, when we get here, you're acting like that we're all good and they're taking pictures together. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Them taking pictures. They were taking a picture with one of the dancers. I didn't see anything wrong with that. Just because I still don't see it for you doesn't mean that we can't take a group shot or a picture together. But anyway, so she brings that up. Then Shereé says that Drew was acting like they were good because they took that picture together. She also points out that she calls Drew Nocchio because, Pinocchio lying all the time. Here's the thing. And I'm not going to change what I said. Drew does lie. Does she lie about, are they a bunch of white lies? For the most part, she definitely lies. But I just feel like everyone's focused on Drew. You guys are making Drew that girl this season because you're so focused on Drew this season. But it's not. You guys are using Drew as your punching bag because maybe you want to distract from your lack of not having anything to talk about. I also feel like you're feeling like this is what you're supposed to do as housewives as opposed to just being yourselves. We already know Porsha was dragging it with Drew this season. And now Shereé is dragging it with Drew. You guys are making Drew that girl. So even later when Kelli says, Drew, you have an issue with everyone except Cynthia and Phadra. But I was like, what's her issue with you? Kelli, what's the issue with you? I thought that was weird. Drew, for the most part, is getting along with everyone besides Porsha and Shereé. Right? She doesn't have an issue with Brit. Her and Brit had that conversation where she asked her if she sold it. Did you sell it? Sell what? The cat? She was just like... Anyway. Guys, if you haven't already, be sure to like the video. It's an easy and free way of supporting not just my channel, but other channels as well. We also give you a full update of the Diddy trial here on the channel, but also on the Kempire podcast, along with extended versions. Last week's episode on day 13, there was an extended version. So there's some important information in that Diddy trial update. So be sure to subscribe to the Kempire podcast. And don't forget, you can hear our live recaps like this one on the Kempire podcast as well. Subscribe today. And don't forget to give us a 5-star rating, okay, on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. So after this, I have to do my Diddy update. So stay tuned for that. I will take some callers, but I won't be taking a lot, okay? All right. Matter of fact, let me actually drop the call-in link before we move on. And if you like my skincare, guys, be sure to check out Butter in the description. Your 10% off is available there. Let me drop this on the community tab. And how are we doing with this rating? How would you guys rate this week's episode of Atlanta from 1 to 10? TikTok, let me know what your rating would be. All right. Let me see. Call in link. Here we go. And if you are a Club Kempire member on the Apple Podcast, I did drop a special episode for you guys as well, where I recapped The Handmaid's Tale and Just Like That Season 3 premiere. Okay. All right. Hey, Babs. Babs says, I'm at work, but I'm here. Hey. Thank you so much, Kendra, for the super chat. Kendra says, freaking fraud can both leave. Meredith. Come on, let me play it. Hold on.
10 ring.
Oh, okay. Fine. Look, fine. Thank you guys so much for 582 likes, but we have over 2,300 of you watching on YouTube and Facebook. Let's do better. Okay. Let me see what the rating is in the live chat. And don't forget, guys, we are raising money for the Center for Pride Month. It's Pride Month. Ooh, come on. Go. Okay. We are raising money for Pride Month. We're trying to raise $3,000 for the center. As you know, with this administration, a lot of organizations are not getting the funding that they deserve and need to keep supporting our communities. So help the center this month. We're trying to raise $3,000. My hope is to raise way more than $3,000 because I know as a community, we can do it. All right. If you're watching a replay of this, you'll be able to find a link somewhere around here. If you want to donate now, head on over to one of our last videos here on the YouTube channel and you can donate there. The same goes for all of you guys on here watching on TikTok and on Twitch and Twitter. All right. All right. All right. Let me move on. Let's go here because if you guys are not talking about what we're talking about, I'm ignoring what you're saying. Okay. I got to focus. All right. All right. Let's move on to this group dinner because so much. Oh, wait. Before we move on to the group dinner, Cynthia. This is why I find it so interesting that Cynthia is sort of an enhanced friend of the season and not full time, but Phaedra's full time. Weird to me, but okay. Because we're getting a lot more from Cynthia. So Cynthia and Drew fought over the room. They give them room assignments and Cynthia and Drew get this room. But the room has one room that has 2 twin beds. I don't know when to just push those beds together. Has 2 twin beds and one with a king. So they arm wrestle over it and Drew wins. But Drew, and which I appreciate because Drew's a smaller woman. Cynthia is a tall woman. She needs a big bed. A twin is not going to do for Cynthia. So Drew, being philanthropic, gives Cynthia the room and then she regrets it immediately. She's like, oh my gosh. But they go out and they have a conversation, and this is where Cynthia starts talking about her new guy, Amsterdam, Le Prince. We now know who the guy is. During filming, we didn't know who the guy was, but then they were caught recently by paparazzi. And Cynthia says, like, I think people might be surprised with the type of guy that he is in comparison to other guys that I've dated. Honestly, I didn't think so. I felt like he kind of reminds me of Leon in a lot of ways because Leon's a creative. I think in her early days, she liked the create. I kind of think he reminds me of Leon. I'm not saying looks wise, more so like the creative energy. But you already know I'm rooting for them. Cynthia, if you want to know anything about Taurus men, I always advise my women about Taurus men. But she accurately described him. She's like, he's very sweet to me. He's very touchy-feely. She says even at some particular point, this was in the after show, she was sort of like sabotaging the relationship, saying, why is he always touching me? Or why is he so sweet? And da-da-da-da. So she had to really check herself and say, oh, am I that traumatized from my past relationships? We still have no idea why her and Mike Hill broke up. And I'm not going to forget, I did drag Cynthia during that time when she wanted to have that COVID wedding. Remember? That super spreader. And did anyone ever I don't remember. Anyway, but I remember that. Miss Dink said that he cheated. We don't know that. That was never confirmed. We assumed that based off of his history, but I don't think they ever confirmed what it was. So Cynthia, honestly, they need to ask her about that. Cynthia's back this season. They should have asked her about that. Yes, she's talked about her divorce, but I feel like, Cynthia, you don't need to give them anything. They're only paying you to be a friend of. The fact you're even talking about Amsterdam is enough, okay? So she talks about that. She says that he isn't someone that people would expect her to be with. He's younger, and he likes to have lots of sex, okay? Fine. So then she says, she assumes that Drew is dating. She's like, you're dating, right? And she was like, no, I'm not dating, but meeting people. And she's like, friends with benefits? She's like, no benefits. That would just complicate things that are going on right now. She also talked about her conversation with Porsha and about her filming with Ralph and how it went left very quickly. She said Porsha wasn't even there for 15 minutes. So Cynthia was like, not 15 minutes. But Drew brings up a valid point. She says, what was the point of her filming with Ralph besides being petty? And besides them talking about her? Without a doubt. And Shamia, if you bring up that podcast during the reunion again, I need someone to call her out and say, that podcast that you guys had for like 2 seconds, He's going to you for podcast advice? Why? What podcast do you have that's so super successful? And that's not shade. It's just a fact. If I'm going to go to someone with a podcast advice, I'm going to go to someone that has a podcast actively that's successful at it. And then based off that conversation, y'all gave us a little something talking about a podcast, but come on now. Fine. So she says if she's filming with Ralph, it was just for her to be petty, to get her lick back. And Cynthia says in her confessional, well, if that was the case, you filmed with Dennis, she didn't like it, you guys are now even. Do you guys agree? I mean, look, I don't think that it was... I think what Drew should have done was to reach out to Porsha. Because clearly, Dennis clearly is passionate about music and does a good job with music. And they made a good project together. So clearly, if you really wanted to work with it, if they came up with something that wasn't... Like, if they didn't produce music, and if they did produce music and it was trash, then I could be like, really, girl? You went to this man to do what? But they came out with a good project. I think she just could have been, out of respect, reached out to Porsha, and she would have saved herself just by texting Porsha and saying, Porsha, I just want to give you a heads up that I'm filming. This is part of my storyline. I'm filming with Dennis because I'm producing music. I wish it would just been that. Because I'm not going to sit here and act as if Drew is completely innocent when it comes to this situation. Do I think that Porsha dragged it out? Without a doubt. She dragged it out for convenience as her storyline. But okay. So they had that conversation. Let's get to this group dinner. All right. So they get into their vans to go to dinner. All right. And Cynthia's nipple falls out. Here's the funny part. This made me laugh and giggle to myself because they flash back to when Cynthia was in the doctor's office and Phadra saw her breasts then. And she's like, Phaedra's familiar with my nipples already. And in her confessional, she's like, welcome back. Welcome back, Phadra. I thought that made me giggle. Anyone else? I thought that was funny. All right. So Phadra ends up talking about the funeral business and they have questions. She's like, when someone, dies, they have their last breath, their last poop. And then Shamia says, do they have a hard private? You know what she says. I can't say it here. And Phaedra's like, well, I've never experienced that. So the ladies get to dinner, and Angela reveals that today, during this time of them being on this trip, that she would be celebrating her 8th anniversary on this trip. Do you guys think that she should have been on this trip and not home with Charles? Or do you think, because I don't have a husband, and I haven't been married, so... Maybe for those of you that have been married, that have had anniversaries, would you want to be with your partner that specific day, or would you just at least want something planned for something in the future? Asking. Thank you so much for the roses, cute potato on TikTok. We appreciate you. Oh. All right. Okay. El Chap says, Kempire, I've been waiting for you to come back to Philly. I went to get my tickets for me and my best friend only to realize I will be on a plane heading away. El Chap. That's on you, girl. That's on you. Sorry. And I can't promise you I'll be coming back. Oh. Gonna have to come to the New York show. New York is not that far away. All right. What you guys are saying. Esther says that Phadra is annoying. Vicky says something planned. Let me see. Pageant Mommy says that she should have been with her husband come the next day. I mean, look. Personally, this is work. This is an opportunity. She's contractually obligated to be a part of this trip. It's a big thing to be. If this was just an event, I can understand not going to the event and doing your anniversary. But this is a few days away. I don't know. You guys let me know. Sharon says that, thank you for the super chat, Sharon. Sharon says that Charles didn't make Angela feel wanted, so she left. Oh my gosh. And well, based off the preview for next week, Sharon might not be too off from there, just based off of what we see from the preview. All right. All right, so there's this naked man that's across the way from Phadra and Brit's room. All right, and Phaedra's like, I want to see his dang-a-lang. Kelli, so they bring it up at the table, and then Kelli says, because Porsha says, oh, maybe he's a masseuse, and then she brings up, oh, I wonder if he does happy endings, and they were like, huh? And they're like, have you? And Kelli says to them, you never had a happy ending? And they're like, no, have you? And then she's just like, Kelli, if you're going to bring it up, girl, tell the story. So they talk about it on the after show, her and Shamia, and she's talking a little bit more about it. And I'm just like, Kelli. All right, Kelli. Clearly she has, okay? She admits it on the after show. Anyway, so they start getting to a larger conversation on the after show about it, and I'm just like, y'all do that? That's not, yeah, lock them up. I'm like, what are we talking about here? But okay. All right, so they talked about that. Then Kelli says that she wants to reset the energy between Drew and Shamia. So Drew says that Shamia carried back wrong information in regards to the comment that she made about paying for Pilar's college. Shamia says that she's not that type of friend. You're going to say something to me, she's going to carry back that information. She's not a fake friend. Okay. So why do you feel the way about Angela and Drew bringing back information about what you said to them about your friendship with Porsha? I mean, if we want to go back by that logic, run tell that, right? Jonathan on TikTok says, I would have brought my husband on the trip at least. I mean, that's an option. I mean, I don't know if it's a real option, again, because he's not going to stay. Remember, they're roommating with other people. And honestly, the only person that's in a relationship on there would have been, there would have been Brit's husband, Charles, and Gerald. But Gerald's not filming. It goes back to what I was saying about Shamia. He's still not filming. So what was the point of you not being on the show for the last how many years that you wanted to be on the show? Would he not allow you to film in the house even though he's not on camera? He hasn't filmed at all. I mean, for the most part, like these small scenes, but not a lot. All right. Anyway, so she brings that up. So we have the Shamia and Drew back and forth. And clearly Shamia does not like the fact that anyone is calling her lapdog, or the fact that Drew is standing 10 toes down on calling her lapdog. She's like, you were giving lapdog behavior, basically. All right. And that, where was I? Oh, and Drew says that a hit dog it was like a little quiet for like a couple of seconds. And then she was like, Drew says, a hit dog gonna holla. A hit dog gonna holla. And then when they were like, okay, you can't call her a dog. And then if she hits you, then you're gonna be mad. And then she was at the table barking. I can't lie. I was like, okay, Drew, points are being made. It's lapdog behavior. You're barking at the table. So I'm just sort of like, well, there we go. Let me turn that off. She brought up valid points. You're at the table barking. You're actually acting like a lapdog. Okay. All right. Porsha says that, so remember last week I said that Porsha has not had Shamia's back the way that Shamia has had Portia's back. Well, finally, Porsha in Grenada has Shamia's back, and she says that she believes that Drew owes Porsha an apology for calling her a lapdog. So Angela comes in, she chimes in and says that no one was trying to pry into Porsha and Shamia's friendship. So she brings it away from Porsha and Drew, or Drew and Shamia, and brings Porsha into it. I was like, oh, okay, Angela producing over here. Okay. So, and So Porsha says she didn't understand why everyone was asking Shamea about their friendship and not asking her. So Kelli says, well, then can I ask you a question about the friendship? And Porsha shuts it down. She says, Shamea and I have had the conversation and we've decided to move on. And Shamea is just like, oh, I'm so happy that Porsha finally has my back. Okay. All right. It doesn't sound like they really healed anything based off of their conversations with other people about their conversation. But we've decided to move on. All right. Kelli says that everyone has an issue with Drew. And even Drew was like, huh? Everyone has an issue with me besides Cynthia? What's that about? And again, we could be, based off on what we're watching, it could be editing. Maybe there were issues with Brit and Kelli and Drew, and we just are not seeing them. But they didn't share it at the table. So Kelli says that everyone has an issue with Drew. So Porsha admits that she didn't handle the issue with Drew at Shamea's birthday party the correct way. And I have to give it to Drew. She's like, you know what? Can we take a moment for that? I appreciate you saying that you didn't handle that correctly. But then they get into more stuff. And she says that, well, when she didn't understand, Porsha didn't understand why Drew didn't just kill the whole Dennis of it all if she was dating Black. And first of all, why did they beep out Future's name again? Well, not again, for the second time, but they didn't do it the first time. I was like, why did y'all bleep it out there, but not at the beginning? Clearly, that's what Porsha said when she's like, "You're bringing up the fact that I was dating Future," and she says, "I only brought that up because you brought up this random that I'm dating Black," and she's denying that she's dating this other guy. I think this was intentional. We literally saw Porsha in her confessional act as if like, oh, was I supposed to say that? Production asked her, oh, did you, production asked her, oh, who told you that? And she was like, Dennis. So Dennis is all in the mix. Porsha was acting all like, oh, should I have said that? Clearly, she knew she wasn't supposed to say that. And she's like, cut that out. And she knows production's messy and they're not going to cut it out. So she strategically wanted to bring up this other guy. So what is it? So if you knew about this guy Black, then why were you dragging your issues with Drew and are possibly sleeping with Dennis? Again, I'm looking at Porsha like everyone wants to call Drew a liar. All of y'all lying on this cast. It's hard to find a truth teller on this cast. Cynthia, the only truth teller on this cast, and Angela. I'm not sure about Angela though. That remains to be seen. We're just meeting you, Angela. All right. Let me see. Let me move on from there. Okay, so Porsha and Drew have that back and forth. Porsha says that Drew has been trying to clear that up. That if she was trying to clear that up, that she isn't sleeping with Dennis, why didn't she just say that she was dating someone else? Because Drew's saying that she's not dating someone else. And even if she was necessarily talking about or talking to someone else, why is it your job to bring it up on camera that she could be talking to someone else? You were being messy. All right, so they talk about that. What else did they talk about? So she talked about it was Dennis that told. Porsha said that Dennis was the one that told her. Porsha says that it doesn't feel good for Drew to be filming behind her back with Dennis. She says that. Drew admits that she made a misstep by not texting Porsha about working with Dennis. So they do have some resolve by the end of this conversation. It will be interesting to see, though, how the next few episodes go when it comes to Porsha and Drew. Because now, based off of this episode, it feels like, okay, we finally have put it to bed. But we probably could have had this conversation and put it to bed how many episodes ago? We've been dragging it for 13 episodes. Dragging it with Drew for 13 episodes. And on the 13th episode, we finally make peace with it. And it wasn't that deep. It wasn't even that deep. Only for you to find out she's not sleeping with Dennis. And what else? She apologized. And I think Drew would apologize in episode 2 about maybe I should have texted you. But she was trying to have conversations with you multiple times. In the early episodes, when Kenya was still a part of this cast, she was still trying to have a conversation with you and put it to bed. She's like, I just wasn't ready. All right, girl. All right. So Drew does admit that she made a misstep by not texting Porsha. So they're able to put it to bed. But Brit has been too quiet. So Brit's just like, I just like to say something since we're talking about people filming with other people's husbands and things like that. So I feel like I need to talk to you, Phadra. Michael, my husband, invited Apollo and his wife to our event. So I wanted to, just to let you know, I don't have a relationship with Apollo. That was my husband. And she doesn't know Apollo. Phaedra's just like, I don't know why she's bringing up my ex-husband. He has a whole other wife. And she's like, I could care less. So Shamia says that Brit needs to read the room. And this made me laugh too. Shamia says, but we are still talking about the fact that we still left your event hungry. We still left your event hungry. Natty says that none of these beefs are deep. None. And honestly, I think the fans don't want the beef to be deep. They also don't want the beef that's not deep to drag on for 13 episodes. Because they're not that deep. It's fine not to have, to have these little surface level beefs and things like that, but you can't drag out those beefs for 13 episodes. Like that's not going to work. Mary Jane says that Pistol Patty, y'all are so bad with this name. Pistol Patty decided to out her husband. The jokes write themselves. Y'all ain't right. Guys, we're almost at 800 likes. I did drop the call and link for our members only. Members, you will have 30 seconds to share your thoughts. I'm not going to be up here long because I can already feel in my throat. I need to give I need some ginger and turmeric for my throat like Drew did. I already have a Diddy update to do, and that's already going to be long, so I'm not going to be here too long. Taurus with the T, it says device is not connected. So, there we go. Okay. All right.
Hold on. Hear me?
Yes. Hold on 1 second. Guys, don't forget the opinions of the callers do not represent the opinions of myself, the Kempire LLC, or our sponsors, and everything that they say is alleged. Alleged. Hey, Taurus with the T, what did you want to share?
Hey, Kempire. I'm actually over here drinking a turmeric shot as well, so please get one after the live.
Thank you.
But I wanted to call in and say that, wow, I am actually enjoying Drew in terms of watching everyone gang up on her because I'm not gonna lie, she's kind of doing pretty good holding up. And I love that Angela is defending her. And I really enjoyed listening to Cynthia talk about Amsterdam. They make such a cute couple. And I just bought my ticket to the Atlanta show. Okay. I'm very excited to see you. Yeah. And I'll let you go because my throat is really scratchy. Have a great day.
Okay. Bye, Taurus the T. Yeah, maybe it's something in the air. But I'm also talking for an hour and almost a half. So, all right, let's get to Toya next. Toya, what did you want to share?
Hey, Kempire, how are you?
Oh, well, how are you?
I'm good. I just want to say, Phadra talking about Angela being like old or looking old. And I'm just thinking, Phadra, girl, how old are you with this platinum blonde hair? And she kind of gives mean older auntie, like the auntie that you have to watch out for, you have to warn your friend. Like, my auntie, she a little rude, okay? So she might say something. Like, that's the kind of vibe she gives. And we still want to know why she lied on Candy, okay? We have not forgotten. Bye.
Bye. We have Cynthia backstage. Cynthia, what did you want to share?
Hi, Kempire. How are you?
Oh, well, how are you?
Fine. The last night, so I gave it a 7. It wasn't too bad.
Okay.
It wasn't too bad. Are they trying to ice Drew out? I don't know what's going on. It's kind of weird. It's getting weird to me.
Yeah.
My opinion.
Possibly. I kind of get that vibe.
And she still hasn't appeared on Watch What Happens Live?
Nope.
Something's going on. Okay, well, good luck, Drew. I hope the reunion is good at least.
Well, we'll see. That's being filmed this Thursday. Stay tuned.
We'll stay tuned. Happy Pride Month, Kempire.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Take care.
Bye. All right. We've got Tyler backstage. We'll bring Tyler up next. Hold on. Oh, hold on. There we go. Tyler, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, Kempire, I'm going to be very quick. First and foremost, I do think everyone is ganging up on Drew, but I also feel like Drew, it's time for her to go. We still do not know anything about her after 4 years. We know nothing about her outside of Ralph. And if he leaves and they truly divorce, there's no storyline there. Just being honest. Porsha, I think that it's time for you to tell Shamia that you really do not like her. You never liked her. Angela, while all the fans are praising Angela, I do want to say this. Angela is very, very extremely two-faced and calculated. What she does is she gets around the person. She gets around the person, feeds into how they feel, and then when she gets to the other person, she feeds into what they feel and kind of plays like she's there for them to get everything that they say. Next season, that will be her downfall. Ooh. Watch what I say. It's just that those girls don't have the intellect to go toe-to-toe with her. She's in a cast full of B characters. But that's all.
Thanks, Tyler. Bye. Well, we said that about Angela from the beginning, because you remember at the Kenya Moore hair care spa event, what she said to Brit versus what she said to Kenya. So we've been clocking that for a while since then. All right, Barry's backstage. Barry, what did you want to share in regards to Atlanta?
Hey, Kempire, how's it going?
Not bad. How are you?
I'm good. I just wanted to, after watching this episode, I kind of realized that Porsha is a different kind of nasty of a person. Like, you knew about the supposed person named Black, but you decided to drag out Drew's name about her sleeping with your ex-boyfriend, baby daddy, after you're married to a whole nother man and you think you can hold claim to Dennis. But you also actively know she's going through a divorce with the most petty, vindictive person. And, putting this out there will feed into Ralph and then use that against her. And she has kids and you don't care. That is a different kind of nasty. That's why Simon is her karma. That's why she's exactly as miserable and she's not getting anything he wants out of Simon. Simon is her karma for all the nasty stuff that she does.
Ooh. All right, Barry. Thank you so much.
Bye. You're welcome.
Bye. Barry brings up a very good point. But that's the vibe that I got when she randomly brought up this person that no one has been talking about. The blogs weren't talking about some other guy, and he's right. You see what Ralph did on this show. The reason why he filed for divorce was because of the Ty Young of it all, and it's just like. But again, I'm not going to be too hard on Ralph because we saw what I still got it here. Them celebrating Memorial Day together.
Hello, Ralph. What do you call me? Hello, Ralph. What do you call me? Yo, Drew, I made all this food here. The steak, the hot dogs, the chicken.
Let me taste it. I'm going to sit down and make me a plate.
Oh.
Hey, Helen.
Oh. Hey, Hi, grandmama.
Okay, Drew. All right, O'Shea's backstage. We're going to bring O'Shea up next. O'Shea, what did you want to share?
Happy Pride, Kempire. That video killed me. I didn't even see it before.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I just want to say one thing. I hope that Angela is selling all these houses to get that money ready for when she divorces this man, because that whole situation is a mess. It's sad to watch. And if Angela is really 43, as she claims she is, she still has a lot of life left to live, and she shouldn't be saddled down to this ankle of a man for the rest of her time. But thanks, Kempire.
Thank you.
I just came to say that.
Thanks. O'Shea, bye. Did he call Charles an ankle of a man? Wait, is that what you said, O'Shea? Ankle of a man?
Oh, I meant ankle.
Wait, ankle? A-N?
Ankle. Like ship anchor.
Oh, anchor. Oh, anchor of a man. Well, ankle of a man sounds good to me too. All right. Okay. Thanks, O'Shea. Let's go with ankle of a man, please, and thank you. All right, Miss Esquire's backstage. Miss Esquire, what did you want to share about Real Housewives of Atlanta?
With Charles Oakley, actually, knee is a better reference, and anybody who watched him play basketball will get that reference because his knee was made of paper mache. But that's neither here nor there. What I will say is I want to have a lot of I really want to have a lot of grace for Drew, but at this point on this show she should know better. She should be able to clock when somebody is using her for a storyline, and she should be able to nip that in the bud. She could have done this herself a couple of episodes ago, to your point. I completely agree with what Barry said. That was really low what Porsha did, because it does have reverberations in her divorce and everything, especially with who Ralph is. But here's the thing. If you knew she was dating somebody, then this is really about your need for control, Porsha, and your need to control everybody in your family and in your orbit who's on this show and how they're on this show. And that is not really an issue with Drew. That's an issue with your people. Handle that with them.
She did it on Porsha's Family of Lies, too.
But that's what I'm saying. Family of Lies told me she is the main character and she wants everyone in her family and extended family to orbit around her and to follow her lead. That's why she's pissed at baby daddy. But that's not an issue to be. You're not legitimately mad at Drew. You're doing that for a storyline because you can't film in that man's house. So, and you can't talk about that man. And so Drew needed to clock that. And like you said, she needed to put the pin in that early. You're the reason why Porsha has a storyline this year, and that's your fault.
Damn. All right, Miss Esquire, thank you so much. Bye. All right, Miss Bernice is backstage. Miss Bernice?
Hold up. Hey, Kempire, how you doing? What up, though, everybody?
Hey.
Hey, y'all keep giving Porsha the benefit of the doubt. She couldn't box her way out of a crayon box. And y'all know this. Okay? She's trying to seem like she's intelligent when she's dumb as two rocks. So, and looking at her sit down with Drew just proved it. She's emotionally immature for these women. Angela's the most emotionally mature, and the other women need to be acting like her than acting like they 25 again. And they still in the club. Okay?
Yep.
And for her to keep insinuating that she's dating other people, and you know she's going through a messy divorce, and he will use anything and everything to make her look foolish, why would you even say anything like that? That shows that you are not a girl, and you never was.
But are we surprised that Porsha would do that? We saw what Porsha did with Candy. People let her get away with that, but she literally ran with that narrative. You're a grown adult.
Exactly.
Go straight to the person.
And after reading her book, that says it all.
Oh. What?
You know her character.
Oh.
Harlot.
Oh.
Jezebel.
I need to grab that little soundbite. Harlot. Thank you, Ms. Bernice. Have a great day.
Okay.
Bye.
Love you too. Bye-bye.
She said harlot. Oh, I gotta add that to the soundboard. All right, let me get to Judgy Justice. Judgy Justice, what did you want to say? Harlot. Not you, Judgy Justice.
I was like, man, I'm married.
So is Porsha. No, I'm playing.
Twice. Well, I think it's like, why are we fighting about Dennis? I'm sorry, Porsha has never had a 4.5 on her arm during the day.
Oh, not during the
Ralph,
day.
maybe crazy, but it's a 9 for me. And I'm interested, and I really am interested in the fact, like, the Chicago girls, Angela and Drew, are really teaming up on the Atlanta girls, Shereé and Porsha, at the table. That was everything for me. That was brought it up to a 6 for me for this episode. Was just that scene. I'm just also really disappointed in, like, the Queen of Waffles being Kelli, actually becoming just a lapdog right as long as Shamia. In the words of Shamia, roof, roof. Bye.
Thanks to Judgy Justice. All right, Blanche, we're going to bring up next. Blanche, what did you want to share about Atlanta? Ooh.
Hi, Kempire.
Hey.
I only want your recaps, but from what I'm hearing, it just made me think of something. So Charles Oakley had a cooking show during the pandemic called Chopping It Up with Oak. And on the episode with Lisa Ray, she talked a lot about how he hates gossiping. He's always stayed out of mess and all of that. So I think that he definitely doesn't like what the show stands for, but it doesn't excuse how you all are saying that he's treating his wife. So I just wanted to make that comment that he's been on camera and he's comfortable when it's in his wheelhouse. So the way that he's like not showing love to her, that has nothing to do with the cameras.
Yeah. Okay. Giving us perspective. Thanks, Blanche.
And the show is on Tubi if anyone wants to see that.
Okay, Tubi.
The episode. It was a really good show.
Was it? Okay.
Yes. He was one of the NBA villains from my childhood. So it was interesting to see like this lighter side of him. He was a villain on the court. If you are a sports fan, you know. So anyway.
Okay. Thanks, Blanche.
Thank you.
Bye. I mean, a lot of us know who. Mind you, this is someone that doesn't follow basketball, but I know who he is. So, all right. He played. Well, no, he played during the years that I watched basketball, but I wasn't like a huge fan of his because Knicks, they're always losing. So I'm all woo Knicks, woo. But did not tell y'all. But anyway, and I'm a New Yorker. I would love it for them to win. But y'all already acting a fool up here in New York City with just the game. So I can't imagine taking it all the way. That would have been even worse. All right, Noda Queen will be our last caller. Noda Queen, what did you want to share?
Hey, Kempire, happy Gemini season.
Ain't nobody say that. No, I'm playing. Happy Gemini season.
First off, Drew, get behind me. Because Drew has been trying to call Porsha out since Kenya's event, but it got overshadowed by the Brit of it all. Because she said, I'm here to talk about my divorce, and you're here to talk about what? This? She's been clocking it since way back when. Porsha just keeps wanting to drag it out. Drew's been trying to talk, all that. So, you just want an issue. You just want a problem. And the only thing Drew has done wrong, in my eyes, this season is not ask Kelli, what is our beef? Because why do I have beef with everybody at the table? All you guys are giving fans. Shereé song on this radio, then singing the song bar for bar like a fan. I'm sure we could find some lies in your music if somebody listened to it one day. But that's it. Have a good one, Kempire.
Thanks, Noda Queen. Bye. Damn, she read them down. Okay. All right, let me say thank you. We had quite a few super chats. I did just drop the call-in link as a gift to our loyal people that I know the people that call in actually liked the video. So all of you, almost 3,000 of you that have watched that haven't liked the video, let's get to 1,000 likes, guys. We have over 2,400 of you watching on multiple platforms. Actually, 2,500 of you watching on multiple platforms. Shout out to everyone watching on TikTok, Twitch, and Twitter. Hey, Twitter fam. All right. Let me say thank you because Kathy gave us a super chat. Kathy says, Drew and Porsha cooked up this whole story. You really think so? I don't know if I believe that. I don't know if I believe that with Drew. Yes, I do believe Drew is cooking up her own storyline. I don't think they cooked up that as a storyline. Tamara, thank you so much for the super chat. Tamara says, it's interesting how Porsha is accused of stealing a man and wants to project a story of Drew trying to steal a man. And mind you, this is not the first time that Porsha has been accused of allegedly trying to steal somebody's man. Can a man be stolen? I already know people are thinking no man can be stolen. Izzy, thank you so much for the super chat. Izzy says, just wanted to say happy Pride Month. Thank you. The start of Pride Month yesterday is also my B-Day, so happy Gemini season. See you in DC camp. Happy birthday, Izzy, and I'll see you in DC on August 22nd, guys, at Union Stage. We're about to have a time. All right, so thank you so much, Izzy, for the super chat. We appreciate your support. Latoya, thank you so much for the super chat. Latoya says, yeah, and Porscha's spinoff was trash. Right? Come on. We recapped it, but I wouldn't watch that sucker again. Just saying. Kendra, and mind you, they didn't renew it either. Kendra says Shamia and Porsha could have made themselves useful and finally got Ralph to admit why he went to Tampa. Please drag him at the show. Oh my gosh, Kendra. Oh Lord. We have a lot to talk about come. God only knows what we will be talking about come August 22nd in Atlanta. But I know what we will be talking about July 10th in Philadelphia. Of course, this show, Real Housewives of Miami, which premieres next week, and so much more. Diddy, we'll be talking about that. Maybe we'll be talking about the resolution of this case. After this live, I will be giving you your summary of the Sean Diddy Combs trial. We've been giving you a daily summary here and on our podcast. So be sure to subscribe. And we also have a special playlist. So go check out our channel page and you can see the playlist if you just want a full update over the last how many days, 2 weeks now, 3 weeks now of Sean Diddy Combs. So, all right, let's get to these callers really quickly. Callers, you all have 30 seconds like everyone else, so be mindful of the time. Chrissy, what did you want to share?
Hi, Kempire. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted to add a comment for Angela and Charles. I'm somebody who's rooting for their marriage, but I just feel like just like that lady that could see the psychic was saying that they're just too comfortable in their marriage. And I feel like it's on both sides. It's not just Charles. I think Angela, the fact that she flew down on the day of her anniversary lets me know that she's also neglecting the marriage. They're both neglecting it. And I feel like even if she missed the date of her anniversary, she could at least said, I'm here for the trip, but Charles is meeting up with me in St. Martin or Trinidad for us to celebrate our anniversary. So that's all I had to say.
Okay, but we'll see. Next week's episode we could see that. They do have a FaceTime, so we'll see.
Child, that's not happening. But
look, I'm hopeful. I thought you were rooting for them, Chrissy. I thought you were rooting for them. All right.
I am, but okay, bye.
Thanks, Chrissy. All right, Anthony's backstage. We're going to bring Anthony up next. Anthony, what's going on?
Hey, everyone. Anthony from Los Angeles, California. How are you, Kempire?
I'm well. How are you?
Good, thank you. So I'm going to give this episode actually a 7 out of 10. For Phadra, I returned from the dead. Now let's bury the past for good. We can't do that unless you actually address what you did to Candy Barris. I'm not understanding this tagline. Just get off the show. But leave Apollo because I want to see him. And then for Drew and Porsha, Porsha, get in front of me. Drew, get behind me. Because Porsha using Drew for a storyline, I just can't. We need to talk about Simon. And then for Drew, I'll defend you a bit, but I can't just because you let this go on for the whole season. Like, you could have addressed this and stopped this like what Candace did on Potomac, but it wasn't no. But that's all I have to say. Thank you so much, Kempire.
Thanks, Anthony. All right. All right, we're going to bring Michael up next. Michael, what's going on?
Hey, thanks, Kempire, for dropping the live chat for us regular folks. I just want to say real quick, this is in regards to Phadra's return. I learned two things. I'm going to tell you two things I learned. One, these corporations try to do manufacturing consent, which means they don't ask the consumer what they want. They feed the consumer what they want the consumer to want, which is Phadra. We don't want this chick on our television screens, but Bravo is going to ram it down our throats. The second thing I learned is during the civil rights movement, we can use our actions to speak for ourselves. So as an action, I am no longer watching the show ever since I saw her face on my screen last week. And I just want you to know that. Okay. Everybody else will do the same as well.
I know that's right. All right. Thanks, Michael. Michael at the gym. Sorry. All right. I mean, he's got a point. He's got a point. I definitely agree with that. The fact that Bravo isn't, because if they were really listening to the consumer and listening to their viewers, Family Karma would be back. But they're not. All right. Wait, do I see a familiar name back there? Or maybe it's someone different. But hold on. Audrey's backstage. Audrey, I know Audrey. Hey, Audrey, you come to the Atlanta show?
I am. Hi, Kempire. How are you?
Oh, well, how are you?
I'm doing well. Actually, really quickly about the Atlanta show. I was at City Winery last weekend for the Memorial Day show, and they popped up your face to show what was coming up.
Yes.
So I was really excited about that. Just real quickly, one thing I wanted to bring up with the Porsha and Drew thing. I think Drew is really boring, but as usual. But I don't like how Porsha is trying to make that her storyline, just so she doesn't have to talk about Simon. Also, that flashback that they do of Phadra, and you see Phadra's old face, like, oh my God, there was a lot of work being done there. But I will just want to say, I do think that Angela continues to be the MVP. I think they should really try to rework this show if they bring it back. If it doesn't go on pause, I just think the other girls are just not bringing it. It is boring, and it's just so sad to see such a great franchise, such a great city just kind of go down. Also, I want to say really quickly, the other day I met Marlo, and I'm going to just leave it at that.
What you mean? You going to save it for the show?
Yeah, you know what? I'll save it for the show.
Save it for the show, because for those people in Atlanta think they're going to get the tea now. Nope. Save it for the show, Audrey.
Got to come to the Kempire show at City Winery, right over there across from Crew, where Dennis, the club that Dennis owns, just walk right across the street.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, it's right across the street at Ponce. Yep.
Okay, note to self. I know where I won't be going. No, I'm playing. Bye, Audrey. Take care. I remember Audrey. She spilled some tea last time we were at the Kempire show. Atlanta, I know y'all gonna show up, but let's sell out this show. If y'all want me to come back to Atlanta, we need to sell out. Okay? All right. I have high standards. Okay. All right. Let's bring up Alex. Is this the Alex?
Yes, it is. Hey.
Bit Alex.
Happy Pride Month. Not here. Happy Pride Month. Sorry.
You popped out for Pride. Okay.
I'm sorry. I know. I'm sorry. I should have been showing up more. I'm sorry. Atlanta has just not made me want to show up.
Oh.
It just really hasn't. Porsha, you're hemming and hawing and, ooh, don't play that. Ooh, I shouldn't have said that is not making me like you any more than I already didn't. Okay? Phadra, your dumb faces are not making me like you any more than I already didn't. Your stupid little faces that you do and your weird ass mouth that you keep on stretching out, girl, you look like a marionette. Please stop. Why are you doing those faces? Can we bring back genuine Phadra or is she too far gone? Lord. If y'all have made me like Drew this season, then we know something is wrong. If I'm liking Drew, if Drew is one of my favorites, then something is wrong. Something is wrong in the formula. The buttermilk isn't clean, if I'm going to quote Phadra. Something is not right. I love Angela, y'all. I love Angela. And I don't want to hype her up too much because she's going to do something that's going to make me not like her at some point, as happens multiple times. But I do genuinely like her. I miss Kenya. I don't know if we've already moved. I think we've moved past this too quickly. I miss Kenya. I was going to ride with you, Brittany, but you were a little too annoying and weird. And your marriage is weird. And it gives lavender. It gives purple. It gives a shining like the rainbow of Pride Month. Hey, y'all. Happy Pride. All right. Bye, guys. I'll see y'all later whenever I come back, whenever this show stops being boring. Bye.
Bye, Alex. It goes back to what Audrey was saying is that Drew, they're making Drew be that girl. And she really is not. If we look at the bare bones of what Drew has offered us over the last few seasons, she's never really been my favorite. I have to say, though, she's making a lot of sense in responding to what people are saying about her during the season. But if we look at as I said, her storyline with Ralph, I really don't care. But I think she's handled herself pretty damn well for everyone coming at her this season. So that does make me it does give me pause. Like, well, is Drew that bad? I just don't want to see your husband anymore, Drew, if I'm being honest. I really don't. I don't like Ralph at all. Look, I don't like him at all. I don't like seeing him on the show. He seems desperate to be on the show. He seems desperate for attention. Drew, the worst thing, and I'm sure when Drew married him, she didn't realize she was marrying someone so thirsty for attention and fame. That is what I get from him. And anyone that's in this business, anyone that's a public figure, your hope is to marry someone that's not like that. And that's what she married. And I hope she gets away from him. Unfortunately, I know she loves her kids, but unfortunately, she's got to co-parent with this personality for at least the next 18 years. But here we are. Here we are. Thank you guys so much on TikTok for the gifts. We appreciate you. Thank you so much, Cute Potato. Thank you to everyone that sent in a super chat. We're almost at 1,000 likes. Can we get to the 1,000 likes? Yes, let's do that. For those that want to know more about my skincare, check out Butter. Our discount code's available in the description. Thank you to our King's Guards. Thank you to our channel members. Thank you to everyone that called in, everyone that liked the video already. And of course, thank you to our sponsor for today's live Factor meals. More information on them is available in the description. And don't forget, I will be giving you a Diddy update of the trial later on today. Going to go rest my voice for a little bit, do some research, and then spin out another video for you guys when it comes to that. And don't forget, you can hear our live recaps of our live recaps on the Kempire podcast, along with our Diddy updates. So be sure to check that out. And we appreciate you guys. All right. Don't forget, Pride Month, we're raising money for the center. After the replay of this, you'll see something here. This will let you know how to donate, but you can just go check out one of our last videos, and there is a link. Let's get to over 3,000. My goal really is 5,000, but I set a goal for 3,000. Okay, 5,000. You know what this administration is doing to organizations? They're not getting the funding that they're used to. So that means vital programs that are helping our community are being slashed. All right. So let's help keep the center that's been a safe haven for so many LGBTQIA teens and young people for a very long time. All right, let's do it. All right, y'all. Again, more information on the Kempire After Dark. A live show will be available in the description. Philadelphia, Atlanta, Washington, D.C., New York City. Go get your tickets today. Meet and greets are available. Live stream is available only for the New York City show. Bye, y'all.
Thanks for tuning in to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Network. As always, you can hear Kempire on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. More information can be found on KempireRadio.com.